Hey, welcome to the Wildling Podcast. Today, I think I want to keep this episode pretty short and to the point. Basically, you have spiritual gifts, and it feels weird saying gifts, and it's always felt weird saying it in that way, but that seems to be the way that people, I guess, understand it the most or the easiest. So don't think that you cannot unlock having some sort of spiritual ability. You might naturally, and by naturally, I just mean like there might be some things that are actually kind of obvious to you, and other things that you don't think that you would be able to do, but you actually can. These things are, you can develop them, you can unlock them. All you have to do is to work on it. That might be a slightly different process for everyone, but I don't think that people are enable to be able to have some sort of spiritual abilities. I think that everyone can do at least something, and you don't have to have substances to be able to do it or to be able to unlock it or unleash it. For some people, that is how they get their what they would consider their awakening or really being able to connect is if they use a substance and then they're able to connect. But once again am going to say that it is very dangerous to just advertise that to everybody as though that is the method. It's also dangerous because it can mess up people's brains. They can end up in psychosis, they can have a bad trip, or it can be psychosis that is long term. It can do a lot of damage if you are not careful, particularly if somebody has any mental health struggles as it is. And so I'm going to once again recommend that if you feel like you want to do the substances because you've heard really great things about it, because some people have just really went headfirst into the deep end of some amazing spiritual experiences, really meeting themselves for the first time in a way that they've never been able to unlock before. If you feel hell bent on trying substances, then at least do it in a way where you are going to be taken care of and monitored as much as possible. Find people that are legitimate, find people that are going to be able to help you, ones that you can trust. Don't just grab things and take them with your homies. Like, that's probably not going to go well. A lot of people love to try to do stuff like at festivals and parties and things like that. And that can be a bad thing for some people, and it's really not worth it. And you're definitely not going to be getting that kind of spiritual experience that way. So don't recommend that. But if you are going to do substances, do it in the right way. Do it in the most healthy, safe way possible. But again, you don't have to do substances in order to really meet yourself. You don't have to do substances in order to connect with the spiritual realm. You are a spiritual being. You are an energetic being. You can do that without needing any type of substance. So let's move on from that part. If you want to, I guess the first thing would be to explore what kind of spiritual gifts there are. Again, it's weird to say gifts, but yeah, anyway. Are you, what, you can start with the clairs, like which clairs you think you might have or connect with. Like you have clairsentience, clairaudience, all of those. There's a lot. It's basically like smelling, tasting, feeling, viewing. There's all different types of clairs. And then, of course, there's mediumship. A lot of people have mediumship and don't realize that they have it or they can unlock it. And I also believe that mediumship is not exactly the same for everybody that can do it. So be aware of that as well, because there are people that do really well with mediumship while they are automatic writing. That helps them to connect. And with automatic writing, it is basically how it sounds. So you would have paper and a pen, and you just kind of scribble, or you just let whatever come through, because you are the medium to the other side. And that doesn't mean that everything's going to be spot on perfect all the time. Things can also change. So whether that's a mediumship kind of reading or any sort of spirit reading, which it would also include tarot cards, oracle cards, things like that. You can get something that feels really spot on for your present and your past. The future is a little bit more difficult, a little bit more complicated because things can alter, things can change. Sometimes you'll get something that's kind of in a warning, or it's going to make you realize that you need to change things up. You need to do something differently. You need to, maybe it's something that you need to focus on healing more. Maybe you're getting the message that you need to meditate more. And that is going to kind of alter how the future goes. It might show you like the future as you're headed right now, but if you are healing and you're doing these meditative practices more, then that is going to help your future. Sometimes other warnings come in through readings as well, like go get your car fixed. Something's about to get messed up here. Sometimes that does come through. And the more that you can connect with yourself, your higher self, and all of the spiritual aspects, the more you're going to be able to trust what you're getting, trust your intuition, trust the messages you receive, trust the warnings that you receive, all of that. It is going to be very helpful and just overall more beneficial. Meditation absolutely helps with that. If you don't connect well with silent meditation, a lot of people don't. That can be very difficult to achieve. It can be a difficult thing to even be able to get into. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try to get there at some point. It doesn't, maybe some days it would go easier than others, but there are a lot of different kinds of meditations. Try them out. Start with guided meditations. You can start with a 10-minute meditation. You also don't have to do it every single day, even though it is like always recommended to do daily meditation practice. And the more you do it, the better you can get at it. It is like a muscle. All of this stuff is like a muscle. The more you work with it, the better you will develop it. If you are doing tarot readings, oracle readings, things like that, that can help connect you with the other side as well. And it can open you up more to spirit. So it's going to open you up more into a kind of mediumship, which might look different for you than it does for others. And did I finish what I was saying with the automatic writing? I don't remember now. You're just, whatever comes through, you're scribbling out, and it can help you, um, I guess, with symbols that come through, or words that come through, or numbers that come through, or names that come through, anything. Whatever comes through, they write it down, or they just scribble, and it looks like nothing. Not everybody connects with automatic writing. Some people don't write at all, and they just get different messages in different ways. Some people feel it in their body, and with that one, you should be very careful of and try to set the intention and ask spirit to not affect your body and your health, not to take that on. If you're feeling it, ask that you feel it in a way that is not going to be too much. It is not going to be harmful. It's, and you can also ask if it's happening in the moment, like, they're trying to show you that they passed from a heart condition. So you're feeling in your chest a lot of pain and it's scary and it's just a terrible feeling. So you can ask them, okay, I get it. Please stop now. You can do that as well. Really set boundaries and set the intention. And another way that you can set boundaries is to say, I'm only open to receiving these messages, these feelings, these sensations when I am intentionally going to do a reading for someone or myself. Otherwise, please don't. It doesn't always work. Sometimes you're going to get it anyway, but it is helpful. It is helpful to try to set those boundaries. That way, you're not like an open channel all the time. It gets exhausting and sometimes it gets freaky as hell because if you're like in the shower or if it's at night and you're just trying to sleep or going to the bathroom in the middle of the night and you see something in there or some noise, like it gets freaky, okay? So you don't always want to be an open channel if you can help it. And some famous mediums, they also will like randomly go up to people and give them a message. You wouldn't have to do that either. Not everybody is going to be receptive to that. And I don't think that people should feel pressured that if you develop such a gift, that you're now obligated to use it all the time. That's not really healthy either. Again, with having boundaries. But if that feels right for you, then you can do that. You can lean into that because maybe they do really need that message, which is another thing. If you're really being called to give someone a message, it can feel really, really scary if you're not used to it to just randomly give somebody a message. But again, if you're comfortable with it, lean into it. Maybe it makes perfect sense to them in the moment. Maybe it will make sense to them later on. Maybe it never lands. You really don't know how it's going to go. Even in intentional readings where they're coming to you for a reading, you don't really know how it's going to go. You don't really know how it's going to land. Some things might make absolute perfect sense and other things won't. So again, when it comes to watching them on TV, the ones that have become famous, you're seeing a snippet of the reading. You're not seeing the reading in its entirety. You're seeing like the highlight reel of the reading, the best parts of the reading. There are plenty of times where things don't align, they don't make sense, or they make sense later on. Sometimes it never makes sense. That's just the way that it goes with readings, particularly as a medium type of reading because, again, you are the medium for spirit. You're the channel. And sometimes you can get it wrong. It is also something to develop. The more you work with it, the easier it is going to be to get the messages, the more clearly they're going to come through. That doesn't mean it's going to be perfect all the time, but it is going to be something to develop and work on. You will start learning your own, mm, what's the word I'm trying to think of? You'll start learning your own kind of, I can't think of the word. That's so frustrating. Um, Signals and signs, things like that. So that is something else that you're going to want to work with spirit on is what kind of symbols, if you need it to be very straightforward, that's helpful. If you like using symbols, then you can do that. Like, oh, my symbol for a lily is that someone passed peacefully. Those are things that you're going to start figuring out and developing. And you can start associating certain colors with certain things, certain numbers with certain things. It's going to be very personal to how you operate with spirit. So don't think that you're incapable just because it looks different for you than it does for someone else, particularly someone that is a famous medium. And if you are terrified of working with spirit, that doesn't mean that you have to work with spirit. That would be the first thing to work through is your fear of it. And if you want to just kind of get started and see how it feels, see if it's going to be something that feels really scary or something that feels natural, then you don't have to just, it's not like you're just going to dive right in and it's going to be immediate, like you're seeing ghosts everywhere, spirit everywhere. It's not as likely to happen that way. And again, you can set the boundary. If you start to see things, then you can set the boundary. And most most are respectful of that. Sometimes some things will still shock the hell out of you at random, and that's not nice. But anyway, you can y- you can absolutely develop. Not everybody is going to be able to see things though. And I want to just say this in case somebody doesn't know. You're not going to be able to see them even if you develop that sight. You're not going to see them just like you see everybody else. It's an energy. It shows up like energy. It's different. And spirit might show up to you if it's a passed on loved one for someone. They might show up younger. They might show up, for example, if they were really, really, really sick, they may not show up in that way. They're probably going to show up in a way where they were healthy. And th they're also probably going to show up in a way that that person really remembers them. So if they remember them as a grandmother, grandma may not come through as a 20-year-old in the way that she looked when she was 20. Maybe, but not necessarily. And the energy may also, their energy is going to show up maybe a little different than how they were in life. Some people have learned and they're not quite the same. For example, there are some people who were absolute assholes in life, but they weren't bad people. You can be an asshole and not be a terrible person, like a full-on evil piece of shit, but maybe they were an asshole. Maybe they were just a difficult to deal with kind of being. And then they pass on and they realize some things like, oh wow, I was raised really harshly and I really became harsh. And I was harsh to my kids. And then they're realizing the things that they could have done differently, the things maybe they should have done differently. And there's some regret there in the sense of like, I'm sorry I hurt you. And then there's others that really don't give a fuck ever. So expect either. And also know if you're kind of scared of opening up any kind of communication with spirit, most of them have solid senses of humor. They are so funny and can just, I mean, even if it's not somebody's passed on loved one, just spirit in general, there can be some funny motherfuckers, okay? Really, really good sense of humor. So funny. There can also be the total opposite. Yeah, you can end up with some really negative things. I feel like not everybody ends up dealing with that. I don't know how that happens. If I knew, I would tell you so you could avoid it. I don't know how that happens. How you just open up to all of it, or you open up to your own guides and someone's passed on loved one if you're trying to do that. Maybe it's intention. Maybe it's, yeah, maybe it's mostly intention. That makes sense to me. But anyway, we also need to be a little careful when it comes to spirit stuff, spirit talk, and opening up as a channel because some people, if you have mental health stuff going on, that might not be a good thing to dabble, to not be sure of what you're about to walk into or deal with or open up to. I don't want to scare anybody, but anybody that can be susceptible to psychosis, then that's going to make it even trickier because it's already difficult for people who don't experience psychosis to question what the hell is going on and what they're dealing with and is it real? And usually the way to tell if it's real is getting that confirmation. Sometimes it can be both. Some people experience psychosis and they experience spiritual stuff, spiritual experiences, and they just get like this mixed bag going on, and that is a lot to deal with. Substances are going to make that trickier, so be careful. What else do I want to say? If you don't want to have anything to do with that part of it, it doesn't mean that it's going to get forced on you. Again, you can set the intention of, I don't want that ability. Or you could really, really, really want that ability and like, why hasn't it happened yet? Maybe it's showing up for you differently. Or maybe it's going to take time or a different modality to open that up. Start noticing and paying attention though, if that's something that you want. Whether it is, I see, and I hate using the term mediumship when it's such a broad spectrum. It really is a spectrum. Communicating with spirit is a spectrum of what comes through and how it happens. For some people, it is like they see them, they are basically having a conversation with them, or and when I say see them, I mean like it's more like in your mind's eye. It's not, it's very rarely, if ever, going to look like a human to human situation. Again, it's an energy. It's energy. It shows up in energy form. Same with beings, like if you want to call them angels or demons, that's going to show up not necessarily in like a physical, fleshy kind of way. I don't know how else to describe that right now, but you might realize that you are getting smells that is connected to spirit. For example, if you have a ancestor that you knew of and they were a heavy smoker of a specific kind of thing, like pipe smoke, and that comes through with the feeling of that person. You got the smell first, and then the feeling's there, and then you realize, oh, that's so and so. Okay, oh, hey, you can tell them something, ask them something, and that's something else. Even if you're not trying to open up any sort of mediumship abilities, if you don't think you can do it or you're just not interested, that's okay. But if you want a message from spirit, if you want a message from a passed on loved one, someone in particular, ask them for a specific sign. If you want to do it in a way where it's feeling the most organic and the least likely to just be too obvious, like, I need you to show me a Jeep. So you get in your car at rush hour and you drive, you're probably going to see a Jeep. So that's easy to kind of logic away of like, all right, well, that was way too coincidental. So do something a little more out of the ordinary. You can also ask for like three. I need to see this 3 times today in order for me to realize and know for sure that it's you. So I need to see butterflies today 3 times. And then you can see a butterfly outside. You can see somebody with a butterfly tattoo. You can see it on your feed on the social media. Like it can come through in different ways. And sometimes that's also going to help with confirmation bias because you're paying attention. You're looking for it. That's why you ask it for, that's why you ask for it in different, like three different times, and it can be good to ask in different ways. And to go a step further, if you ask it in your head or away from your phone, away from things that are listening in, where it's going to start showing you shit on your phone because it's like, oh, they were talking about this thing. Let me give you an ad. It helps with that. And sometimes just a random person will you'll overhear a conversation and they'll say they're talking about butterflies, and you don't know how it's going to come through, but it can come through. And that can be your symbol for that person from then on out. And so 5 years later, you might get another few butterflies come along. It might land on your nose. And that's like a little kiss from that person, or, just a little like, hey, just letting you know I'm still here. Try not to get too desperate for it. That can make it more difficult. And if someone recently passed, that is going to make it harder for them to connect. It's not impossible. You might get something immediately, but from what I have experienced and what I have learned over the years is that when someone passes, it takes them some time. There's like this period of, some would call it like soul, um, part of their soul growth, and they go through their life review, and it's maybe not the same for everybody, but it can take some time before you end up getting any sort of sign. And yeah, so I don't know. There's just so many different theories. There's so many different theories on what happens after someone passes that I would, who's to say what is exactly correct? And maybe something feels absolutely true for you. Like maybe you feel absolute truth that someone passes, they were a good person, so they went to heaven. And that's where they remain. Other people would believe that they can go into another life. And so maybe you're not getting the message because they've already reincarnated. Maybe there you believe that because time is nonlinear, we're all at the same time experiencing multiple lifetimes and being on the other side at the same time because time is nonlinear, and maybe that's how it works. Maybe that's what you believe. Maybe it's a little bit of everything. I'm not going to tell you what to believe. I'm just trying to give you some examples of some different belief systems and why you might not be receiving a message or straight away or whatever. And know that it takes energy and effort to be able to put that through. And pay attention. Pay attention to the signs. Pay attention to synchronicities. Pay attention to random messages from other people. Just open up in that way where you're allowing it to happen. You're allowing to receive it, and also not just automatically sciencing it away. Not automatically like, well, that was just confirmation bias. Well, that probably flickered in the moment that I asked it to because the bulb's being weird at this moment, even though it wasn't before and it wasn't after. But, it could have just been that. Could have just been a weird coincidence. If you want to get into spiritual stuff, you cannot always science it away. It's just the nature of it. There are other gifts as well, of course. But I think working with spirit, even if it's like setting the intention of really just working with your higher self, then it's I don't know, a favorite maybe. But there are definitely some other modalities and things that can open up. But either way, it's really still going to be working with spirit in some capacity. If you are healing yourself and you're doing meditations, you're doing trances, you're doing shamanic journeying, you're doing energy work like Reiki or anything like that, you're still working with energy and you're still working with spirit. So just know that. And again, you have the ability to open up to different abilities. You can do that. I think everybody has that potential, and it might not look the same for everybody, but the potential is there. You are a spirit being, so it can happen. And how you want to do that, set the intention, but don't have the expectation it is going to go exactly that way. That's something else to be aware of. And there's a ton of guided videos. There's also different practices. If you wanted to do a Kundalini awakening, that's available. There's guided methods of that on YouTube. If you want to meet with your higher self, there's guided meditation videos on YouTube. It's it's there and it's free. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to take a trip somewhere and hope for the best. You can try to at least start this stuff. At least try a foundation for free. It's there. And it could be great. It could be absolutely amazing. It could just break you wide open. And sometimes it takes time. You could try it for the first time and it's just like, yeah, I couldn't really connect, but it's new. It's new. Give it time, give it practice, make it a practice. It doesn't necessarily have to be every single day, but the more you work on it, the more you can develop it. And I say that as somebody who has this shit, these gifts, if you will, and I don't, I have shut off with it for a while. I get stuff sporadically. I I haven't even with readings, I've never really done much with readings. I've done them here and there and I just it's not really something that I stuck with. But also, I have been going through a lot. My nervous system is fried. My health has been rough. So I'm just not really at a place. I haven't been at a place where I have felt like, all right, now is a good time to work on my spiritual endeavors. And sometimes that's just where you're at in life. You don't have to try to force it. And yeah, on one hand, it's like, all right, this is really the time to lean in because I am uncomfortable and I'm tired and I'm going through a lot. And now I need to lean in and lean on spirit and my beliefs and spirituality and my spiritual support and energetic support and do the energy work. Yeah, there is that too. But give yourself grace as well. You might need it. You're probably going to need it. The human experience sucks. Yeah, it just does. There are parts of it that is amazing, absolutely amazing. There is a lot about it that is an absolute miracle. And then there's other stuff that just makes it really, really hard. And we have to be able to acknowledge both, that there is that duality of it can be a beautiful, phenomenal love, just amazing experience. And then another side of it can be that it's gut-wrenching and there's a lot of grief and a lot of difficulty and there's traumas and it's the duality of both. It can absolutely be both For some people, they get one more than the other as well. Let's acknowledge that too. If it's all peace, love, and light all the time, that doesn't connect with everybody. And that's not realistic for everybody. So let's not do that spiritual bypassing where everything has to be all perfect all the time. It's kind of toxic positivity as well to overdo it. And also acknowledging for like the manifestation of it to not overdo the negative thinking, the negative thought patterns, the negative talk, the negative self-talk. We do have to be mindful of that and careful of that. If you're overdoing it, that's just not a good thing. It is not a good thing. And even science has shown that, where there's been studies of a scientist that I cannot remember the name of that did a water study, and it was I think it was three different things where he spoke to the water and froze these three different things, but spoke love and kindness into one. And then the other one was ignored. And then the third one was hatred, kind of negative talk to it. And they showed different. They showed up different under probably the microscope. And then there's somebody else that did a study with plants. Same thing. One was very spoken to very lovingly. The other one was ignored. And then the other one was all negative, hateful stuff. The negative, hateful one died. The one that was ignored was like wilted, very sad, dying. And then the one that was spoken to lovingly was great. It prospered. It was wonderful. So we absolutely need to be careful. And that would include the content that you are consuming and the people that you are around, because that is going to alter your brain, alter your subconscious. If you are in a work environment or living situation, something like that, where it is negative or they are negative, but you can't get out of it. Like, even if it's just something where you are living in a very chaotic apartment building and you can't move right now, you just can't. But that kind of noise and negativity and chaotic energy is going to affect you. So you're going to have to do extra steps to try to counteract that, to try to balance it out, to try to get into the more positive mindset. And it's not going to be great every single day. Don't expect it to be, even if you get into a perfect routine where every single morning you're doing morning meditation and you're setting yourself up for a great day. So you do that morning meditation, you do some stretching, you're moving your body around, you're feeling good, you're drinking your water, and you're giving yourself those affirmations. And then your neighbors start screaming, and you're just kind of like, how am I supposed to maintain this vibe? And then you get in traffic and you're dealing with that energy and chaos, and now you're running late. And how am I supposed to maintain my good vibes right now with this going on? Life has a way of challenging you. So let's be realistic about expectations. And you know what? If you want to be full on Delulu about your dream life, delusional, I like saying Delulu. Okay, don't make fun of me for it. I really don't give a fuck. I like that word. I like Delulu over delusions. It's more fun, it's whimsical. I like it. If you want to be Delulu about your life, do it. Hell yeah. Do it. If your dream life is to be a millionaire and barely even work, and you've just got this full on image of what exactly that life looks like, and you can smell it and you can feel it and you can taste it, and it's just like so real. Hang on to that. Hell yeah. Absolutely. And when you get pissed off about something, That's realistic, unfortunately, as well. Doesn't mean you can never have that dream life, but you're also dealing with current life or, stuff that you've had to deal with in the past. It's just like this weird balance of things. But of course, the more you can maintain the high vibes, the good vibes, the better. And again, for some people or some situations, it's going to take more effort. It's just going to take more effort. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. Doesn't mean it's improbable. It's just more effort, which is unfortunate. But, that's okay. That's okay. You will also learn your stride. You will learn what you like and what you don't like. You will learn the methods, the modalities, the practices that you absolutely love and works well for you. Maybe your favorite thing is sex magic. Hell yeah, do that. Maybe your favorite thing is Reiki healing. Hell yeah, do that. Maybe you like 12 different things. Hell yeah, do that. Try them out. Try them out. See what you love. If you're going to go to a practitioner, be careful. Be careful. Make sure that it is somebody that has your best interest at heart because unfortunately, in every single industry, there are predators. Every single one. So have some discernment on who you are working with, which includes the people that are like baby witches and they are acting like gurus. And yeah, making really great money off that. Like, be careful. It's okay to be a baby witch. That became really, really popular when the New Age movement hit mainstream. And then, yeah. Anyway, speaking of witchcraft, if you want to do rituals, do some fucking rituals, dude. Do them. Like, why not? Why not? If that is what you are called to, then do it. And know that you need to be careful about what you're dabbling into, what you're getting yourself into, what you're working with, and you do not need to go into debt or more debt to do these rituals. So don't think that you need to just print off this specific kind of ritual, but the ingredients are going to cost you 300 freaking dollars. So you spend the 300 freaking dollars. That's setting you up right off the bat in like a negative kind of space because it's going to be pretty impossible to not be like, oh my God, I just spent 300 freaking dollars that I don't have on this thing. And what if it doesn't even work? What if I fuck it up? What if I spill something? What if? That negative kind of panic is already setting you up in a bad spot. Don't add that bad energy to your ritual space. If you don't have the money, then don't spend it. It's okay. You can use things that you have. You can go out into nature, connect with nature, and really kind of meditate on what am I really drawn to right now. And if you want to take it a step further, a lot of people connecting with nature will ask, like, if you see a willow tree and you connect with a willow tree and there's pieces on the ground, don't pick at her, but on the ground from the willow tree, you can ask or thank the willow tree, like, thank you for your branches that have fallen on the ground. May I use them in my ritual? Or thank you for these. I lovingly am going to use them for a ritual practice. You can also take a bit of an offering, like a little water, and pour that out for the tree. Like, do little things that feel really right for you. And if if you're like, that's way too woo-woo, maybe woo-woo's not for you. Because shit gets weird sometimes. For other people, it would seem weird. And if you're worried about cringe, then maybe woo-woo's not for you. Anyway, don't set yourself up for failure. Your intention, you are your number one aspect. You're your number one aspect. You're your number one tool. You're your number one ingredient. You are everything. So know that going into it. You don't have to have specifics. And you don't have to do a ritual that doesn't even feel right for you. Like if you want a money manifesting ritual, there's a ton of them out there. Ton of spells for that. Ton of spells for that. So don't think that you look at one and you're like, the fuck is this? That's weird. Then don't do it. That one's not for you. It's okay. Find something else. My hair is starting to stab me in the eyes. I think I'm emoting too much. I'm moving around too much. I did more with my eye makeup today. I don't know how to feel about it. I just wanted to change it up. Use a different color, different palette. Think I like it. I don't know. Might watch this back and be like, girl, you look like a don't look great. I don't know, but whatever. Anyway, you can also, yeah, just look into a bunch of different rituals and look into a bunch of different spells if you're interested in that, if you're called to that. A lot of things are rituals without you even realizing that that is ritualistic as fuck. And that's pretty funny. But they are. And the water holding energy and us having a lot of us humans, alien beings, special beings, weirdos, whatever, a lot of water there too. Blood also having a lot of energy and power in it. So you can use that. You can talk into your water, speak affirmations into your water, speak love into your water, speak abundance into your water. A lot of people love to do that. Some people, or did I think of this a long time ago? I don't remember. If you like Hertz, certain, by, I always pronounce this wrong, I think, bi, binaural beats, binaural, bi, binaural beats, something like that. Whatever. Certain hertz, certain frequency. If you look into ones that are for something specific, like 432, I I can't think of other numbers right now. There's a lot. Then look at to what that frequency is supposed to help with or connect with, and you can put that with your water as well. You can use that with some headphones on as a meditative practice, or even while you're doing like a freaking chores around the house. It's it can be a good thing. I also really, really love classical music, and the frequency of that is different than modern music. And it's the vibe. It is an absolute vibe. I love it. So, anyway, try different things. Be open to it. And if it's something that you feel like you need to hide from other people, that's okay. You don't have to let other people know. It's not their business. If you have been conditioned to believe that all of it is evil and bad, why are you here? I'm confused. But welcome. It's not. It's not all evil and bad. It really isn't. There's a lot of evil and bad that exists that has nothing to do with witchcraft or spirituality or rituals or spells. Yeah, so anyway, I've meant to make this one quick, and I did not. I feel like I've been talking forever. So yeah. Anyway, explore. I can maybe at some point I'll make workshops or other videos that really how do I want to say, like, that's really in depth on something specific, a specific practice, a specific technique, a specific ritual, something along those lines. But just know that it's there. It's there. And there's a lot of things that you can follow along on YouTube for free. Again, you don't have to spend a shit ton of money to get started, to get into this. Go with what feels really right for you. And if you try something and you absolutely hate it, you don't have to do it again. Try something else. Try all different kinds of modalities and see what you really like. The biggest thing is yourself. Yourself. You need to connect well with yourself. I said that already, but also what you enjoy and what you like and your own healing. Try different healing modalities and pivot if you need to pivot. If something gets really boring and monotonous, then change it up. Because if you're trying to do like affirmations and then it reaches a point where you're just not even paying attention to them anymore at all, they don't land anymore because you've been doing them for 6 weeks and it's just kind of whatever, then change it up. Time to change it up. Mix it up. Have fun with these things as well. Don't think that it needs to be a very rigid, boring practice. That's not going to, like, what is the point in that? That's not fun. That's not going to land. That's not going to get you in a high vibrational state. And that is a big part of it. You want to be in high vibes. High fucking vibes. That is the best way to be, and it can be very difficult, especially depending on where you live in the world and what your lifestyle is, whether it's soul sucking 9 to 5 or living where you don't want to live, whatever the case may be. You can have things working against you. Your own health could be working against you in that way. But again, that just means that you have to put in more effort. But high vibe is still a goal. And you can still have bad days. You can still have bad moments, but just try to get back into the high vibrational state. Try to reel it back in. And don't dismiss your feelings and don't dismiss your emotions. Don't dismiss your hormones. If you are going through something just happened and you're really pissed off about it, then safely get that energy out of your body. What that looks like for you, I don't know. I can't say. Maybe it's that you're home and you want to scream into your pillow and beat the hell out of your mattress. Do it. Maybe you're in your car and you want to scream your freaking head off. Maybe you want to listen to some heavy metal music and go to the freaking gym. Maybe you want to go to MMA and punch somebody in the face. I don't know. Consensually, of course. Then what does that look like for you? Maybe you need some BDSM. Maybe you need some kink. Maybe you need some orgasms. There you go. And then reset that shit. Get back to the high vibes as much as possible and as often as possible and catch yourself. Try to catch yourself. If you know or you're becoming aware that you think really negatively often, then try to catch it as often as you can and switch it around immediately. If you just for yourself in particular, because you are everything. So if you're looking in your mirror before you take a shower and you're like, what happened to you? That's not a nice thing to think about yourself. So catch yourself in that moment and be like, actually, say something nice, whatever that may be. Even if it's kind of, but try to make it something that feels nice. What would you want your lover to say to you? It could be that. What did you read in a book that you really loved? And say that to yourself. Or you, because if you have like really intense body dysmorphia, it's going to be a lot harder to find something in yourself that you can compliment. So if it has to be in that sort of way, or your favorite poem or your favorite song, do something that's in some sort of way complimentary to yourself instead. Okay? If you absolutely have to, then don't fucking look for a while and tell yourself, I'm a fucking baddie. I look exactly how I want to look. I feel great. Whatever. Full delusion if you want. Okay? I think that's all. I think that's enough rambling for today. One of these days, I'm going to have a very well thought out podcast. I'm going to have bullet points on everything I want to talk about and stick with it instead of just turning it on and rambling my ass off the whole time. Less likely to leave things out, probably. But oh well, whatever. Sometimes you just got to go with it. And that's how I have been enjoying making these. I've just been enjoying making them very, very sporadically and just talking. My stomach's getting growl. Like, I hope you can't hear it growling. I'm getting hungry. It's getting loud. So anyway, take care of yourself, drink some water. Again, try different healing modalities and try different spiritual modalities and go on your own spiritual endeavor. Don't worry about anybody else. You can keep it as private as you want to keep it. And it's something that you develop. It's something that you work on. Some might take a little more effort than others, and that's okay. Some gifts might open up very easily to you, and others might not. That's okay too. And the more you work with it, the more you will find your stride, the more you will get comfortable with it as well. And you are your greatest gift. Oh, wait, there's more. I forgot. Very important, but I forgot. Something that everyone should be doing is grounding and shielding and energy work. Yes. Chakra work, great as well. Ground and shield and energy work. Look into it. There are guided meditations on here, plenty of them. So if one of them feels weird, then go to something else. Or if one of them's 10 minutes and that's all the time you have, then do that. Or another time you've got 40 minutes, then do that one. Whatever feels right for you, there you go. Ground, shielding as in like from like energetic shielding from negativity, things like that. I highly recommend doing like cord removal, cord cutting as well. There are some that do that on here and uh add in like a Reiki session with that, or you can have someone help you with that. Then yeah, do it. But and obviously that's someone helping you if it's on YouTube, but I mean like alive or in person. But yeah, so good to do that every day or as you remember it, those things, all of those things. Definitely good to do before any sort of let's see, ritual or spiritual where you've got the intent of trying to open up more as well. So if your intention is to do a Kundalini awakening video that's guided, that's great. You should try to ground and shield before and set the intention of being highly protected during the process. Thank spirit afterwards as well. It's a great thing to do, good habit to be in. And the intentions to have your higher self work with you is always that's a that's a good one to work with because it's you. I think that was it. A salt bath, salt. I said that weird, didn't I? A salt bath. You do disconnect those words because they are supposed to be separate. It's not a salt, it's a salt bath. Great, excellent, good for cleansing. Cleansing is also important. Clearing out energy important. If you don't have a bathtub, then you can do a salt shower. Clearing out the like any kind of negativity from your person, your pets, the people that you live with, your home. Very, very good thing to do. If you feel like somebody's putting negative energy on you, whether intentionally or unintentionally, grounding and shielding. Also, try to do that for your kids as well. If they're not going through the video, because they're a part of you, they are an extension of you, they are a part of you. So it could go to them as well. Not to freak you out, but when you are going through grounding and shielding, you can also have the intention of it, them being the extension as well. Like they're also getting that help too. Okay, yeah, that's enough for today. Hopefully this was helpful and not too rambly. Drink some water, take good care of yourself, get some exercise, go outside in nature, get barefoot in the grass as you can, hug some trees, let nature know how much you love her and how wonderful she is, and you're very thankful. Find the endeavors that work for you. If you want to open up your gifts, you absolutely go on that adventure. Try to have fun with it. Don't be scared. That's not starting off on the right foot. And have fucking fun as often as you can, safely, and however you can, safely. Bye.